this is your complete guide to the city of Copenhagen. How to get around the place, what attractions to see, the best places to eat, what to avoid, where to buy some weed, if you're into that sort of thing, advice on how to steal the Danish crown jewels, and how to have the most amazing time in one of Europe's most cultured cities. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Danish capital city of Copenhagen. It's also the current capital of culture, full of royal history, amazing architecture, unique experiences, friendly people, and everything else you'd expect from the Kingdom of Denmark. But before I show you around the place, let's take a look at the map. Copenhagen is indeed a very big city, but most of the attractions you'll be interested in is right here in the centre island. So let's start by showing you how to get here from the airport. Copenhagen is incredibly well connected, and you can get here with a combination of trams, trains, buses and the metro system. You can buy a ticket from any DSB ticket machine at any station, tap in before you board, and tap out when you arrive at your final destination. I'll leave more detailed instructions towards the end of the video, but in all honesty, it's not too dissimilar to any other place in Europe. Now that you've arrived, let's visit the most famous attraction that Copenhagen is famous for. The statue of the Little Mermaid. This is to commemorate Hans Christian Andersen's masterpiece that most people now know as a Disney film. And the statue itself, it's very lovely, but it's definitely a lot smaller than you think. Here are some small children for scale. It'll take you all of about 30 seconds to see this and take a few photos before you've basically done it. It won't take you very long at all, but what might take you a little bit more time is the attraction right next to it. This is the Kastellet. It's a star-shaped military fortress that's more like a public park now. And when you're here, be sure to explore everything there is to offer, especially if it's a nice evening like it is right now. You'll see plenty of cool things, these historic cannons for example, the giant hills surrounded by the big giant moats, this lovely picturesque church that's by the side of a lake. You even get to see this cool looking windmill, even though we're not in the Netherlands. And obviously the military fort/garrison that's slap bang in the middle of it all. If it's a nice day like it is right now, it's definitely worth exploring. It's pretty cool to wander around and it's free. But another famous attraction that's also free to go inside happens to be literally down the street. This is the Marmorkirken, aka the Marble Church. This completely circular church, made of white marble, is stunning to look at from the outside. And when you go inside, you'll find that it's hauntingly beautiful in a sort of churchy kind of way. It's actually very hard to describe, you really have to be here to kind of see what I mean. The atmosphere is calmingly quiet, almost to the point where it's eerie. But as it's free, it's definitely worth a few minutes of your time to explore. Denmark, like my home country of the United Kingdom, has a royal family. And like London, Copenhagen has 3 royal palaces. The first of which is a stone's throw away from the Marmorkirken. This is Amalienborg Palace. This is the Danish equivalent to Buckingham Palace, and is the official residence of Her Majesty the Queen, Queen Margrethe II. At the time of recording, she is the only remaining female sovereign in the world. RIP Mom, we miss you dearly. And like Buckingham Palace, you can go inside, but the days and times are limited. If you do manage to get a ticket to Amalienborg Palace, you'll get to see quite a lot of cool stuff, especially the rooms of former kings, which have all been left completely intact as the king would have left it. You'll get to see where the Queen generally receives guests and, oh hello there. And the highlights of a trip to Amalienborg Palace include the Fabergé chamber, which houses the Queen's collection of Fabergé jewellery, her crown, and other trinkets made by Fabergé. You'll get to see things like the library, the ballroom, the dining area, there's quite a lot to see. And I'm not going to go into too much detail right now because I'll be making a separate video all about Amalienborg Palace, including how to see the changing of the guard ceremony, which happens at 12 o'clock most days. It's very similar to the one in London, but there's a few other things that you'll need to know about. Check out my future video right here. One of the other royal palaces literally happens to be a few streets away. This is Rosenborg Castle. It's the Danish equivalent to the Tower of London, a traditional royal residence that is now home to the Danish crown jewels. Outside Rosenborg Castle, you'll find the Kongens Have, which is the King's Square. It's a lovely park space, and it has these amazing views of the castle itself. It's also right next to this military base, so the guards that you've just seen guarding Amalienborg Palace, well, they all live right here. And as this is a royal palace, it's heavily guarded by these guys. So watch your behaviour whilst you're here. And when you go inside, you can see where the former kings of the country used to live and work. Some of the rooms they've encased in glass, to preserve it exactly how they left it. The decor is definitely a lot older, and there's definitely a lot more antiques here in Rosenborg than there was at Amalienborg Palace. The highlights of a trip to Rosenborg Castle include the actual throne of Denmark. There's lots of royal collectibles, such as guns and jewellery and the like. But the best bits happen to be on the basement level, as this is the place where they store the Danish crown jewels. Like the UK, they also have crowns, orbs, sceptres, jewelled swords, and everything you'd expect if you're a king of a sovereign country. But no trying to steal anything, guys. This is heavily guarded, and the guards here have guns. So if you do want your own Danish crown jewels, you're just going to have to buy some replicas here at the gift shop. Seriously guys, no trying to nick anything. These guys will literally shoot on sight. Copenhagen has a plethora of museums, some of which are modern, some of which are kinda kooky, but most of the traditional ones reside right here just north of Rosenborg Castle. The most popular of which is the Statens Museum for Kunst. Now, I'm not the biggest art fan in the world, but this was definitely worth the money. There's various famous paintings that you'll probably recognise right here on display. Some of the art is very nice, some of the art is incredibly weird. Is that coming out of his butt? But overall, if you are an art lover, you'll be very happy with this place. And if you're a complete douchebag and you don't want to pay to enter, simply find a sticker outside with today's date on it, stick it to yourself, and walk in and pretend that you've paid. I paid for my sticker of course, but if you're on a tight budget, that is an option. Now at this point of the video, you're probably getting quite hungry. You'll be glad to know that Copenhagen is a foodie paradise. However, I will pre-warn you now that the food prices here in Denmark are horrendously expensive. It's actually one of the things that Copenhagen is known for. That said, there's 3 must-have food items that you absolutely have to try before you leave this place. The first of which is smørrebrød. These are Danish half sandwiches where they top a slice of Danish bread with some of the freshest combinations of ingredients known to man. It looks more like art than it does food, and the best place to try this is around the corner from the Statens Museum for Kunst. This is world famous Omens. Yes, the double A is pronounced as an O in the Danish language, just so you know. But when you go inside, you'll find that the smørrebrød that they sell here is definitely Michelin star quality. And even though you can find this everywhere in the city, Omens definitely does it best. The food was amazing, and the service, especially from this guy, was superb. If you find that this is crowded and you can't get in, they also have another location in the middle of the city. I'll warn you, it's not cheap, but it's totally worth it. If you're after something a little bit sweeter, walk down the street and you'll find St. Peter's Bakery. This is the oldest bakery in all of Copenhagen, serving sugary goodness since 1652. They are the original purveyors of what we now call Danish pastries, and usually when you get here, the queue is literally out the door. But if you're patient enough to wait, the food is definitely worth it. The Danish pastries they serve here are far superior to anything that you've ever had in your life, and I absolutely guarantee that. Please don't leave Copenhagen without at least trying something from here. The third must-try food item is something called a pølse. This is a traditional Danish red hot dog, topped with 2 kinds of mustard, mayonnaise, pickles and 2 kinds of onions. The best place to get these is Peter's near the Rundetårn, but I'll mention more about that later in the video. But let's say you're lazy and you don't want to traverse the city just to eat. Surely there's a place where you can have all of this stuff at once. Well, believe it or not, yes there is, and it's right here next to Nørreport Station, a place called Torvehallen. From the outside, it looks like a basic market, but look a bit closer and you'll realise that this is foodie heaven. You can try absolutely everything here, from pastries and bread, to French macarons, fresh fruit, gelato, confectionery, fancy wines, smelly cheeses, fresh vegetables, smørbrød as far as the eye can see, cooked meats, fresh seafood. Basically anything that you want to stick in your mouth, you can literally buy it here. Now that you're stuffed full of food, it's now time to burn some of that off. And down the street from the Torvehallen, you'll find this, the Rundetårn. Known as the Round Tower in English, this was traditionally built as an observation tower and observatory. It's obviously very round, hence the name, and when you go inside, you'll notice that the walkway is a giant corkscrew that goes all the way up and around right to the top. This was built this way so that the king could ride his horse all the way to the top of the tower. There's some interesting exhibits, yes, but the main highlight is the observation deck right at the top, where you get these amazing views over the city of Copenhagen. It's also home to one of the oldest observatories in the world. If you don't want to pay to go all the way up a tower, you can visit the church that's bolted onto the round tower absolutely free. It's possibly one of the whitest churches that you'll ever step foot in. Quite nice though. It's at this point you'll realise that you're surrounded by modern shops and modern amenities. You'll come across this small town square. This is where you'll find Peter's hot dog stand, the best place to try Danish pølse. These were so nice, I actually ate 5 of them on my entire trip. And I'm not even sorry. Once you've had your fill of hot dogs, this will lead you to one of the longest shopping streets in all of Europe. This is Strøget, and this will take you a while to walk all the way down. The shops here are probably no different to what you're used to back at home. A mixture of high-end boutiques and familiar high street brands. If you're into shopping, this is definitely the place to go. Once you reach the end of Strøget, you'll come across the largest square in the city. This is Kongens Nytorv. Kongens Nytorv means the King's New Square in English, and there's a statue of said king right here in the middle. This is considered to be the centre point of all of Copenhagen, as this is where all the metro lines cross over. So if you're staying anywhere around here, getting around the city is quick and easy. Attached to Kongens Nytorv lies the most photographed area of the city. This is the area of Nyhavn, aka the New Harbour. As the name implies, it's a harbour district, but it has these very colourful houses that makes for some excellent photos and videos. It's here that you can take a boat tour around the city of Copenhagen, but most people come to Nyhavn for the lovely eateries, the amazing views, and the nice atmosphere, especially on a nice day like today. It's nice to just kick back, relax, have a drink, people watch a little bit, all in this lovely surrounding area. And at night, this becomes the heartbeat of the city. It's beautifully lit up at night, and it's definitely party central. So if you're after a lovely meal, or if you want to party the night away, Nyhavn is definitely the place to come. As you walk south of that, you'll find other churches, other colourful buildings, and lots of cultured cityscapes. but there's a giant behemoth of a building that eclipses all the others. This is the third of the three royal palaces, Christiansborg Palace. Even though it's owned by the royal family, it's used more by the Danish government as their headquarters. But the royal family still uses it for official functions and receiving other heads of states from different countries. Inside, it's pretty amazing, especially the Queen's Staircase, the throne room. The most impressive in my opinion is the Velvet Room. All the walls are decorated in velvet, emblazoned with the Danish royal seal. The Great Hall, the Dining Hall. There is a lot to see here at Christiansborg Palace. Far too much to mention in this video, so I've made a separate video right here telling you all about what to expect from this third royal palace. If we keep going down the map, you'll come across various museums. The King's Museum, the Museum of Copenhagen, the Carlsberg Museum, founded by that Carlsberg, but it's got nothing to do with beer. But I managed to visit the Danish Architecture Centre. It's very interesting to learn all about why Danish architecture is some of the best in the world. It has a lovely rooftop terrace where you can view the entire city of Copenhagen from, and when you're done, you can slide down the entire building so that you can get to the exit. I, as a petulant man-child, enjoyed this very much. A street away, you'll find the Rathus, aka the Red House, which is technically the City Hall of Copenhagen. It's across the street from this that you'll come across one of the most famous attractions that Copenhagen is famous for. Tivoli Gardens. One of the oldest theme parks in the world, and the inspiration for Walt Disney's Disney World. It's part botanical garden, parts restaurants and eateries, and parts fairground rides. In my opinion, this place is massively overrated. Not only do you have to pay to go in, but you also have to pay for the rides separately. Which kind of defeats the whole object of a theme park if you ask me. I mean, if you've got kids and a bunch of friends and you kind of want to do stuff together, it's still pretty cool, it's still worth checking out. But if you're a single traveller like me, and if you go on a day where it's really quiet, it's really not that fun at all, and certainly not worth the price of admission. Especially when quite a lot of the park isn't open anyway, and the overall fakeness generally kind of grates on you. Take this for example, Chinatown, which serves that authentic Chinese dish, churros. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. But like I said, if you have a bunch of friends and you're into that sort of thing, it probably is worth the price of admission, so long as you pay for a rides bracelet, which is separate from the entry price. Rather annoyingly. The attractions I've mentioned so far in this video are the must-see and do things that you need to do whilst you're here in Copenhagen. And that should cover about 3 days worth of activities. But if you've got a bit more time, or if you've done all of that stuff and want more things to do, cross over the river to the east side of the city, where you'll find this interesting church with this spiral rooftop spire that you can climb up when the weather is nice. This is also where you'll find the quote-unquote independent nation of Christiania. At first glance, it looks like quite a bit of a ghetto, and it technically is, but the residents here try and live independently from the rest of Denmark. And it's here where you can openly buy cannabis. Now, even though technically it's still illegal, the police generally turn a blind eye here. So if you're after some reasonably priced weed, this is the place to come. But be warned, the residents here are particularly twitchy about anyone taking photos and videos, because they obviously don't want tourists recording them doing illegal things. So, no photos and videos whilst you're here, otherwise you'll incur the wrath of the locals. Go north of that and you'll find the Copenhagen Opera House. From here you get this fantastic view of Amalienborg Palace and the Marmorkirken across the water. And if there's a show or the opera on, it does come highly recommended. But even if there's nothing on, be sure to climb up to the second floor coffee shop where you can enjoy a nice brew overlooking the fantastic views. East of that, I recommend that you visit this waste management plant. Wait a minute, Why are you telling me to go to a waste management plant? Well, the reason why is because they've built this on top of it. This is Copenhill, the artificial ski slope right here in Copenhagen. It's completely free to visit. You could technically climb the hill, but I decided to take the lift instead, where you get this nice view of the waste management plant from the inside, before getting to the top and admiring these stunning views over the top of Copenhagen from here. And that chimney definitely looks menacing. It's pretty surreal to find a goddamn ski slope slap bang on top of this building. Even though I'm a skier, I didn't really want to ski on this particular slope, just in case I skied off the side of the building and fell to my death. But hey, maybe I'll be brave enough to do that one day. If you go to the opposite end of the city, you'll find the meatpacking district. Yes, it is a real meatpacking district, but it also happens to have some of the nichest eateries in the entire city, and it's very popular with the locals. Can't believe it's an actual meatpacking district. Keep going west and you'll eventually come across Frederiksborg Palace. You can't actually go inside, but the building itself is very lovely, and it's set in some very lovely park space. On the grounds of Frederiksborg, you'll find Copenhagen Zoo. To be honest, it's probably no different to any other zoo that you'll probably come across in any other major city. It's also around here where you'll find the famous Carlsberg Brewery. This was where Carlsberg was traditionally brewed, and ordinarily you'd be able to take a tour of the place, visit the museum, and go for beer tasting sessions. But trust my luck to find out that when I arrived, the place was completely closed for renovations, and will reopen several months after I've left Copenhagen. A lot of travel guides will tell you to visit Cistern. It's an underground art installation located in the city's underground reservoir. In my opinion, it was massively disappointing, and it wasn't anywhere near as exciting as Richard Ayoade makes out. Thanks a lot, Richard. I'll be getting my money back from you. If you're into sports, venture to the north side of the city, where you'll find this place, Parken. This is the home stadium of the Danish national football team and Danish giants FC Copenhagen. The match atmosphere apparently is very, very good. If you manage to score tickets to a football game, it definitely comes highly recommended. Finally guys, if you're willing to venture outside of the city of Copenhagen, be sure to visit Frederiksborg Castle. This looks like something out of a fairy tale, and it's definitely worth the trip if you have the time. Overall guys, you definitely won't be disappointed if you take a trip here to Copenhagen. It's definitely worth visiting once in your life, and you'll need anywhere from 3 to 7 days to experience everything. Just be sure to bring money. Lots of it. Okay Nin, I'm sold. What do I need to do? Well, you need to come here to Copenhagen. You'll most likely fly into Copenhagen International Airport, and it's dead easy to get into the city centre from there. To get tickets for any form of transport, visit any DSB ticket machine, select your language, select which ticket you want, pay for it using your contactless credit card, and it will spit you out your ticket. My advice is to get an all-inclusive travel pass, which is unlimited travel on any form of transport for a set number of days. If you've bought a single ticket, you'll need to validate the ticket just before boarding, and you'll need to tap out once you've reached your final destination. If you have an all-inclusive pass like me, you basically just need to keep it on your person. The DSB, which are these guys dressed in navy blue, regularly check tickets. So please, don't travel without a valid or validated ticket, as the fines are hefty and you're expected to pay before you leave the country. Alternatively, Denmark is one of the most cycle-friendly cities in the world. You can hire bikes everywhere around the city, and there are separate bike lanes with separate traffic lights to keep you safe from pedestrians and motor vehicles. The cost? Well, as mentioned several times in this video, everything here in Denmark is incredibly expensive. The most shocking you'll find are the food prices. The cost of attractions are reasonable enough, but they can quickly add up. So if you are planning to visit quite a lot of them, please take advantage of any multi-ticket options that you can see advertised at any of the ticket offices. Particularly if you're planning to go to a lot of museums or all of the royal palaces, there are discounts if you buy more than one ticket at the same time. If you're looking for a place to stay, the best location is at Kongens Nytorv. It's the centre of the city of Copenhagen, and this is where all the metro lines cross, so anywhere around here is ideal. Alternatively, stay near Copenhagen Central train station like I did. Is there anything else I need to know? Yes. Because of Denmark's impressive work-life balance, most things only open at 10 AM and typically close around 5 PM, with some attractions, like Amalienborg Palace, only open until 3. So please check the opening and closing times before you visit anywhere. The official language here is Danish, but if you speak English, you'll be absolutely fine. The Danes, like the Swedes, happen to speak a multitude of languages, so you'll be absolutely fine if you speak any Western language such as French, German, or any of the Scandinavian languages. Contactless payments are the default way of paying for goods and services here in Denmark. You could come here without a single ounce of Danish kroner and be absolutely fine. Flying drones around the city is perfectly legal except for a few places. Most notably Kastellet, which is a military base, and the 3 royal palaces for obvious reasons. Like most sensible countries that takes its recycling seriously, if you buy anything in a plastic or metal container, you'll be charged a small deposit fee. You'll get this deposit fee back once you deposit it in one of the many recycling machines across the city. Copenhagen is a fantastic city to explore when it's nice weather outside. However, when it's crappy weather, it's not so fun. It's also known to be incredibly windy, and some of the attractions can and will close due to bad weather, so please bear that in mind. Copenhagen is definitely worth adding to your travel bucket list, and if you have found this video guide very helpful, please be sure to like, share and subscribe. Leave me any questions in the comment section below, and if you've got any other suggestions, tweet them at me. If I get enough of said suggestions, I'll probably make a video about it. But guys, thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.
It is also very cheap for